時の笑顔だらすメディア知りたいその秘密ミステリアス抜けてるとこさえ彼女のエリア完璧で嘘つきな君は天才的なアイドル様
Hello everyone, this is Philip here. Today I'm going to be talking about the anime and the manga of Oshinoko. This has been an interesting anime. So far, I have read the manga. It isn't complete yet. I know a lot of people have watched the episodes. So far, 3 is out right now. And I know many of you have loved it, have absolutely enjoyed watching these characters. Unfortunately, it's that damned first episode. It hit everyone because no one was expecting it. Hell, I wasn't even expecting it either. It came out of nowhere. And it got me thinking about all the things in the anime and the manga that talk about the human condition and what it really means to be human. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive in not only to the plot, but the characters and the human condition of everything that has to do in Oshinoko. Before I start, I'm going to put in a fair warning. There is going to be spoilers for at least the first episode. If you haven't watched it, please go ahead and do, or click off this video if you don't feel comfortable. I also want to advise that people with mental health issues or are unsure about them, please refrain from watching this video as it does contain graphic details and other things that may be of concern to you. So please click off if any of these concern you. And without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to be going over a plot summary first, just so that everyone is on the same page and I can explain to everyone what I want to talk about. Ai Hoshino is the main idol of the entire story and the girl that we are going to be focusing on the most in this entire review. The doctor is clearly in love with a pop idol known as Ai Hoshino, and eventually he's caught watching Ai Hoshino in one of his patients' rooms. The nurse confronts him about it and he begins to spill his heart out over a girl who shared the same interest with the idol as he did. Both of them shared a mutual love for the idol and her performance. Eventually, this cancer patient died, and he was left with the guilt. It's an unfortunate tragedy that just starts off our story. In the next few scenes, we see that the pop star, Ai, has taken to the hospital and is clearly pregnant. The doctor reacts as any fan would, seeing their idol, and expresses complete joy and enthusiasm over seeing that she is here. She is currently holding twins, and she's about to give birth, and the reason she came all the way to this hospital instead of Tokyo was to give birth to them in secret. She is an idol after all, and something like this could really harm the reputation of not only the company that she works for, but also her reputation as well. Through the doctor and Ai Hoshino's interactions, we learn that she is very careless when it comes to a lot of things, but she has spunk in her attitude, and she really loves what she's doing. And through all these interactions, the doctor then makes a promise to Ai Hoshino to deliver her children safely. And that then cuts to the next scene, where we have the doctor going home after hours and is confronted by a character that I'm going to be calling a Stan. He eventually confronts the doctor about Ai Hoshino being at the hospital and giving birth to twins. He eventually runs away and the doctor chases him, but then the Stan gets the best of him and pushes the doctor off the cliff, causing him to tumble to his death. And in this scene, he is reincarnated as one of Ai Hoshino's children, now known as Aqua, and the other baby known as Ruby. I'm going to be trying to use the Japanese pronunciations as much as I can, just to be as accurate, so apologies if the pronunciation that I'm using is very incorrect, but I'm going to be doing it anyway. After that, Ai hides her children as the agency tells her that she cannot express any of this to the public as there would be major backlash for her career and also the company that she's working for. As she goes out to go to work as an idol, she eventually gets her paycheck, which is about 200,000 yen. 200,000 yen is about 2,000 Canadian dollars. This is roughly about how much she makes a month. This does expose a huge problem in the industry from the first view of how little pay there is, but I'll get more into that later. Ai then gets mad at a tweet. She goes on Twitter. She decides that she is going to do a little glory scrolling to see what her fans are up to and to see what they're saying about her. Through all these threads, she finds someone that says that her smile isn't in fact genuine. In fact, it's a fake smile. It's not real. And she takes great offense to that, but she says she's going to work on it to convince people that it is in fact a real smile. This doesn't really portray well with her audience as they know it's now a fake smile. However, when her children do arrive at one of her shows that they were brought to, she eventually sees them dancing and puts on her real first smile that everyone online pays attention to. Finally, first time, it was a genuine, real smile. And then as that time goes, she begins to get more and more roles in TV shows, promotions, photo shoots. Through this, her son Aqua does end up landing connections with a director who works with Ai Hoshino on one of the sets. And her daughter Ruby. Ai Hoshino teaches her how to dance, and the both of them continue to bond as mother and daughter relationships do. Also, later in the future, Ai Hoshino does reveal about her loveless past and how she was tricked into thinking that she should just lie about everything that she's doing, lie about what she's saying. And through that, because she was an orphan girl with nothing else to do except for wander around looking for jobs, she eventually learned to just fake everything. Through these interactions with her flashback and the person who scouted her, which is the current president of the company that she works for, she eventually does land the role and continues to lie as an idol. And unfortunately, after all of this, the tragic story comes to an end right here. Ai Hoshino ends up getting murdered by the Stan that was once tracking her at the hospital, stabbing her to death and killing her. At the very end, Aqua, now with his mother dead, plans his revenge, and Ruby says goodbye to her mother. And that is the entire first episode plot summary. I hope you guys are paying attention. I know it was a very brief plot summary, but if you've seen the first episode, you do understand what I'm talking about, and I hope that you grasp the severity of how people act in this world. Because all of this stuff does actually apply to the real world. And I'm going to explain the first one, a fan versus a stan. There are two types of people in the story. There's the fan, which was represented by the doctor, who loved watching Ai Hoshino perform, loved watching her with his patient, the cancer girl, and also did go to one of her shows and bought souvenirs and other things, followed her on Twitter. Those are normal, healthy fans. We see a lot of that. Hell, I have a hat on right now. You see that? That's the Miami Heats. I'd say I'm a pretty big fan. I usually buy some of their merch, I usually watch their games, and I quite enjoy their performance in most of the years. Those are completely normal and sane things to think about. We want to watch people succeed in life. We want to be able to see high performance and to be entertained as humans. And to be a fan of something that's like that, it is just another reason why we are human. But there is a polar opposite to that, and that is called the stan. A stan in the Webster's Dictionary just defines it as an overly enthusiastic fan or obsessed fan. The actual term itself was made popular or coined by Eminem when he made the song Stan, which was about a man who wrote Eminem and loved everything about him and even got merchandise, tattoo, and knew almost anything there was to know about Eminem. But he didn't receive a letter back, causing him to fatally crash his car into the lake and killing him and his girlfriend. It's a story about someone who goes to extreme lengths just to be noticed by someone. As we see by the show, the man went to extreme lengths. The stan went to a very large length to try to be with Ai Hoshino or to try to keep her away from other men. In this, he ended up killing the doctor and also killing the person that he idolized. This does happen in real life, and this is also part of the human condition. I'm going to refer to this as being terminally online. What that does to people is that it messes around with your brain a bit. Most of the time, as humans, we like social interaction. I like talking to someone, and I like them getting to know more about me and me learning more about them. That's the basic of how a relationship is supposed to work and form. However, with the advent of the internet, you don't necessarily need to leave your house to build relationships. You could do it all online. But the problem with this is famous people are also online too. And a lot of people do like famous people, causing them to become emotionally connected with that famous person. They know everything that they love. They know their favorite song, their favorite food, where's their favorite place to shop, when's their birthday. And when you know everything about that individual, you start to think that they are now your friend. But the issue is in a real relationship where two people both share and communicate to one another, this relationship is only one-sided. You may know everything about this celebrity or individual. They don't know anything about you. And that causes madness, especially with people who are terminally online like that. We've had incidents like this happen before. There is a streamer named Amaranth, and she has had many stalkers completely leave their homes, quit their jobs, sell all of their possessions, and go move out to where she is to do who knows what. Most of the time they are caught, and Amaranth does have guards around her area, apparently, according to her, to be able to prevent anyone from getting into her house. But just the idea that this person knows so much about you and is willing to give up everything just to be with you is very psychopathic behavior. It's a very dangerous way of thinking. It's a very dangerous way of life. No one should be able to do this because it causes people to act in a very absurd manner. And this especially happens in young men, because young men feel so attached that they want to have a relationship and a partner, not just a friend. They want to have a girlfriend, they want to have a wife, but the only interactions that they have are with these women online. So when they don't have a real interaction where they know something about them, they get erratic when other men are in the picture, because that should be theirs. I know everything about her. Why isn't she picking me? Why is she going after a different man instead of me? This man probably doesn't know when she goes to bed. This man doesn't know what her favorite food is. This man doesn't know, what her favorite video game is, but I do. And that causes extreme anger in a lot of people. And that anger can lead to dangerous consequences, such as we saw in Oshinoko with the Stan killing both Ai and the doctor. And that's the sad truth about stans. It's a dangerous way of thinking, and no one, I repeat, no one should stan, just because it does lead to anger. If anything at all, changes the dynamic between you and the person that you look up to, because then you'll start to get angry. You'll start to feel regret, and it may lead you to doing things that you soon will regret. Enough about that. We're going to be talking about the ages. So they bring up the ages of these characters a lot. Ai was giving birth to her twins at the age of 16, very young. The doctor and the cancer girl, otherwise known as Sarina-chan, that's her name, are both reincarnated as Aqua and Ruby. Both of them have different age gaps, so when they communicate with one another, or even when they communicate with Ai Hoshino as a mother, their reactions are very different. The doctor was reincarnated at the age of 30, so when it comes to looking at a 16-year-old or trying to find romantic feelings, it feels very awkward. She's very young. That's very inappropriate. But when it comes to Sarina-chan, or Ruby, what happens is that she died at the age of 12. Her mentality is of a 12-year-old. So for her to look at Ai Hoshino as more of a mother figure makes complete sense now. So we explained roughly before that, in fact, there are bad things in the industry. Shocker, I know. I was just talking about the $2,000 a month, or about the 200,000 yen that Ai Hoshino got for her career as an idol. And this does bring up a huge plot. The entire plot of not only the manga, the anime, everything surrounding this is about how corrupt the industry is. The film industry, the idol industry, any sort of industry like that has so much wrong with it, even in North America. This does take place in Japan, but I'm going to give you an example from North America. We have esports organizations here. They pump a lot of money into these players that then go out to compete for tournaments for them. Now, most of the time, you're not winning tournaments every day, so you're not getting a paycheck from these players every time, meaning that you're dumping a lot of money in, but you're not actually receiving lots back. And that is the exact same problem with this industry right here. You have an idol group, and they're making you a little bit of money, but the amount of money that you have to dump into them for concerts, for transportation, for security, for anything else, you're not gaining a lot. So when it comes to paying them, they also don't actually give them a lot of money, as the organizations behind them don't make that much. It's a sad reality, but that's just how it works. So unfortunately, we had to experience more of that in Oshinoko, and continuing further, you are just going to see more and more and more corruption come from this industry. And now I'm going to be talking about the contracting relationships between Aqua and Ruby and Ai. Ai Hoshino is the mother of Aqua and Ruby. But as you can see, their interactions are very different. Aqua prefers to be more distant rather than close to Ai, his mother. Ruby prefers to be closer to her mother. And I think I also brought this up in the age, is the fact that he's a 30-year-old man. He also thinks it's very inappropriate, as well as Ruby is 12. But there's more than that. The doctor is a fan. So when he thinks of Ai Hoshino, he thinks of a fan, not necessarily a mother. So when it comes to disrespecting her, or not treating her human, or taking advantage of her, that feels very dishonest to him. So we see this in one scene where Aqua actually takes down his mother's shirt, and he's very embarrassed, and he puts her shirt back up. We see Ruby actually breastfeed from her mother. That makes complete sense. We do see Sarina-chan, who is now Ruby, actually not have a mother in present when she was in the cancer ward. When she was dying, her mother wasn't there. No one was there for her. So for her to actually have a bond, mother-daughter relationship like this, while Ai Hoshino is breastfeeding her, it shows a deeper relationship that she never had with her original mom. And it also shows that she doesn't really see Ai Hoshino much as a fan, but rather as a mother. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And having the mother and daughter connection is very important. But we also see Ai Hoshino and Ruby practice together as well. They like to dance, and because Ruby in her past life was not able to dance as she had cancer and couldn't move, now she finally has the mother that she always loved and can teach her how to dance. It improves the mother-daughter relationship even further, while Aqua doesn't do any of that. Aqua is very distant, because he does see Ai Hoshino more as a fan rather than a mother. And we actually see this, if you spoilers for the next few episodes, we see a very distant connection as well. Ruby really loves her mother a lot, and you can see that through things like posters and photos, which we'll get into later, while Aqua doesn't really experience any of that. He's more cold and distant when it comes to discussing her name. So it's a very interesting fact there. And now we're going to be talking about the dangers of child acting here and egos. In it, we experience a girl called Kana, and Kana is a child actor with a huge ego. She can cry on command. She's the greatest child actor ever, and she's been getting role after role, and she is one of the biggest upcoming stars. Unfortunately, the way she treats everyone is even pointed out by the director, saying you won't go far with that kind of attitude because people will look away and not want to deal with you. And with child acting, especially, it is a huge issue. And when a child ends up developing an ego like that or getting away, eventually that carries on to adulthood. And when no one wants to work with you as an adult, you're kind of lost in life. No one wants to mentor you. No one wants to take you in and teach you and guide you. They want to ignore you. So you don't learn any of life's lessons that you would from anyone else. And we see that is a lot of adults ended up pushing her away when she got older because they didn't want to deal with her narcissism. They didn't want to deal with her big ego anymore. And it's a sad, sad reality that we have. And as well, another sad reality about the entertainment industry and how it teaches kids to do that. Responsibility also lies in the parents, but I don't know and I can't remember if the parents were ever involved with her performance. I think they just got her into acting and that's it. And then we finally hit the main, fat, large, big, humongous talking point. The thought about identity and being fake. This is a huge one. I'm going to explain it as carefully as I can. So Ai Hoshino was originally an orphan. She didn't have much and she just toured around trying to find work. Eventually she met a talent agent and they scouted her and offered her a job. She said originally that she was going to decline it because she can't look at someone's face and say, I love you, without it being genuine. She was young at this time, which means that at a very young age, you also see this in childhood innocence, where a lot of kids will not lie. They won't cheat, steal, or try to do anything like that because of childhood innocence. President of the company ends up pushing her saying, it's just a lie. It's just a wee lie. Saying I love you to a bunch of fans, just say it. You don't have to mean it. You just have to say it. And thus continues Ai Hoshino's descent, I'd say, into being fake. You can see it in the one scene where she ends up reading that Twitter thread about her not having a real smile, and her really not having a real smile. As well as in the series, you can clearly see that she's never actually said that I love you to her children. She said she wants the best for them. She said I want to put them in expensive schools and give them good food to eat, but she has never said I love you. In the discussion about fake personality or the human condition, I understand how easy it is for everyone to get sucked up into a fake personality. Think about it. Do you have multiple friend groups? Do you talk to people with conflicting interests? Do you ever do that? Well, if you've said yes to any of that, then yeah, you have a fake personality. What one friend group might find funny, the other might find offensive. But you agree with both. But you act in a certain way to appease certain people. In an industry like the entertainment one, when you're trying to impress everyone, like I was, it tends to consume your entire personality because it's never real. It's never genuine. You're trying to impress everyone at the same time, so you put on a show, put on a little act, show yourself in a different light. And that can lead to dangers as we see here, where she never said, I love you to anyone, not even her kids, because she was afraid. She was afraid because everything from then on was fake. So if she said she loved you to her children, would it be real? To her, it wouldn't. But then it leads on to the final scene. And then eventually, she gets stabbed. And as the Stan leaves and kills himself, she holds Aqua and tells him that she has never said, I love you to anyone. But then, she finally says it. She finally tells Aqua and Ruby that she loves them. that she genuinely cares for them now. This is no longer a lie. This is no longer a stage act. I genuinely love you now. She had the family that she always wanted. The family that she loved. And she eventually passes away with those final words. And I don't even think that's the saddest scene. There is a scene at the very end where they're all grown up and they're ready to get out to school. And then eventually, Ruby leans over before leaving and says this to a photo of her mom. Itekimasu. Well, it leans over to a photo of Ai Hoshiro, holding her kids close to her as they head out. It's been about 10 years since that happened. They're finally grown up now. But every day they head out, they say those same exact words to their mother who's been dead and who said that she finally found love and real genuine appreciation for her children. And those words hurt. Listening to her say, "We're leaving now, Mom. We'll be back. Mama. Itekimasu." And that's the conclusion I have right now for the first episode. I hope to talk about this series more. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all did enjoy, and I will see you all in another video or live stream. Goodbye.